Alright, this is going to be the very first episode of the College Lifter podcast. This week we go over finding a time and a place to train, so sit back and enjoy. Alright, this is the College Lifter podcast. I'm Will Everell, your host, here with Ryan Capers, owner, head coach of the Barn Strength Conditioning.
Day one. Hashtag it's not heavy.
Yeah, anyways. Great gym, currently in a barn, full of
That's right.
unique hashtags of random little sayings.
Hashtag the barn.
Alright, and this is going to be the first ever episode of the College Lifter podcast. Our topic for today is a time and a place. Very elegant title.
Time and a place, that's right. Always going to have a time and a place. For everything.
Oh yeah. Everything? Are you sure?
Everything. Everything deserves at least one try for a time and a place.
I'm not so sure about that, but I do know it's tough finding time to train.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for somebody in college, it can be difficult, but it's all about how you position it in your mind. I mean, you make that decision for what's important and what's not and what deserves to be executed and what doesn't.
But Ryan, I can't do it. I'm out till 3 partying, I'm drinking, and then I wake up and I have to go to class, and I got homework.
There you go. And that's the simple decision right there. You can party all you want and then go to class. But obviously you've positioned that, you've prioritized that over training. Now as soon as you prioritize training over partying, then you're good. Now obviously you don't want to prioritize training over school unless you're like a pro athlete or something. That's great. Go ahead and knock yourself out. But you gotta be smart. But so yeah, if you think training is more important than going out and partying, great. You go to bed early, you wake up early, hit training before you go to class, and then go to school the rest of the day, and it's done. You don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. And I think a big point, too, that you made is that school is the priority if you're in college.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest, everyone wants to be Rich Froning, everyone wants to be, Mr. Olympia, you don't want to be Phil Heath. But, let's be real here. Most of the time, that's not going to work out.
Yeah, and it's great to try. I mean, if you got a goal, you go try for that. You pour your heart out into it, but at the same time, I don't like to say be realistic and kind of push back your goals, but I think it's really important to have a plan B. Always have a plan B. Like like when I was in high school, first team, all area, all region, all this stuff, and whenever you're one of those guys on the team that everybody knows you're going to go play in college and stuff, everybody wants to ask you, hey, you going to go to the NFL? You think you can go to the NFL and stuff? And I was always, everybody wants to talk about it in high school because that's the dream. You go get paid to play a game. That'd be sick. And but I always had the answer of, if the opportunity presented itself, that would be great. I would jump all over it, but I want to do, X, whatever my goal was at the time. I've always wanted to own my own gym. That's been that was a lifetime dream since probably like 10th grade of high school when I really discovered training for myself. But yeah, wow. That's it's all about being realistic when it comes to that.
That took some mature thought for some kid that age.
It did, and I'm proud of myself for that, I guess. Not to toot my own horn, but yeah. But then again, at the same time, I got a good buddy of mine who plays for USA. He just played his senior season, and he was always one of those guys that said, "I am going to the NFL." He got the NFL tattoo. He got the NFL logo tattooed on his shoulder. He went as a walk-on, and now will probably be drafted. Came on as a walk-on, earned a scholarship after two or 3 years, maybe 2.5, and now he'll be in the draft.
Wow.
Probably getting paid to do it. But he was one of those guys that now he was the opposite end. He poured everything out into that, and that's a lot of who you are and what you're willing to to do. I mean, he was willing to sacrifice a lot for it, and he'll probably be getting it soon.
But if you're the average college student, that's probably not true.
Right, yeah. These are special circumstances, obviously.
So, yes, there are studies that say if you train later on in the day than first thing in the morning at 4 or 5, you're probably going to do better. And you're probably not going to like rolling out of bed that early.
Nah, who does?
Unless you're The Rock, of course.
Right, yeah.
I wish I could wake up as early as him. But, yeah, I mean, that's got to be what you have to do. And, you know, at that level, you're not trying to go play in the NFL. You're not trying to do anything like that. So, just getting the work done is better than anything else. And it doesn't matter if, I would have hit 5 pounds more. Well, you still got to get stimulus in.
Yeah, and that's huge. And we spoke about it before. You know, if I wake up at 4 and I go and train, I'm not going to be able to hit the numbers that I could if I was training at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Which there are studies that back that. That's 100% true. And it's actually, you'll hit more at 2 than you will at 8 o'clock in the evening. So, and that's 100% true, but it all goes back to priorities. You know, what's more important? Is it important, you know, hitting 5 more pounds on your back squat that day? Or is it more important to go to class and study towards getting your degree? I mean, what's, you know, and that's a simple question for somebody that understands priorities.
Yeah.
You know, and you if it's important to you, you'll make the time. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves is people who say, I don't have time for something.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot, like, you know, it's a really easy go-to excuse for a lot of people. But you know,
what you're telling me is this is not important enough to make time for it.
Exactly. That's what it all comes back to over and over. If you say you don't have time, you don't really want to do it that bad.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're working, you know, let's say you're working 20 hours a day and getting 4 hours of sleep, and it's that perfect cutoff, you know. And that's not happening. You know, nobody's working that much.
Yeah.
And if you are, then, you know, God bless you. Like that.
Yeah, you're an amazing person.
I feel very bad for you, but you're probably making pretty good. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're that bad and you're getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, go to bed. Just forget it.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we could talk about training, which, you know, what we really mean by training, obviously, is just, you know, health, fitness in general, and that's even a big part of fitness in itself is sleep. Sleep is enormous, you know.
So what if I have a choice between 8 hours, 7 hours, working out and sleeping 7 hours, not working out, sleeping 8?
I'm going 7 hours and train all day long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that cutoff period for you though?
That's all on the person. That's all on the person. Like, I know I can get 6 hours and be fine. Now, can I train my face off and, you know, be squatting heavy every day and sleep 6 hours a night? Mm-hmm. No, probably not. Probably gonna, you know, blow my spine out my back if I try and do that. But, you know, I can lift somewhat heavy in a few days a week and, you know, do some metcons or WODs and, you know, be just fine. And that's, you know, that's that trade-off there for sure.
Well, this goes back to that idea of, like, okay, if you want to be stressed out, have a job, go to college, or, you know, you even want to do what I finished up a little while ago, which was CrossFit on top of a small up cycle. Not recommended for those, the faint of heart. But you really have to be mindful of yourself and be able to modify, something you were making a big point on to me earlier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Knowing your body is the most valuable thing that training can give you. We'll say top 3. So, learning your body. So saying, you know, just like that, you do a small off cycle. You know, if it's, for anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's a pretty nasty back squat cycle. With that, if you're gonna do your daily WODs at your gym, great. If you think you can handle it, if you're confident going into it. But what you have to understand is looking at everything from 10,000 feet, not just being like, oh, I gotta kill this, I gotta grind this every day. All the rise and grind, baby. Hashtag rise and grind. You know, that's great. That's a great mentality that you're that excited about training. That's awesome. But what we have to do, we have to be smart about it. So realizing, say, if I'm, just for example, if I'm back squatting heavy Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I want to do my WOD Monday through Friday with my gym, I can't, if there's a WOD on Tuesday that has heavy front squats in it in the middle of the conditioning portion, I probably want to adjust that. Maybe drop the weight way down, or maybe substitute it for something like goblet squats, something like that. Something that's not gonna give me that huge anaerobic response. It's not gonna break down the muscle as hard. So I think that's really, really important. Is understanding your body, learning what works for you, and what you need to adjust.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a skill that you're trying to teach your members who are not, fire-breathing, crazy athletes.
Oh, yeah.
That I haven't even mastered yet. Totally. Because I was that guy for half that cycle where I was like, let's go. Then Friday morning, oh, man, I don't want to get up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's, especially here, we focus mainly on beginners, people looking for somewhere to start. Everything here, the programming, training, everything is written to be very base level. So like CrossFit is usually you walk into your gym, the conditioning portion that day is handstand push-ups and pull-ups, something like that. So that'll never be written on the board here. Mm-hmm. I'll have push-ups, and then RX, I'll write off to the side, will be handstand push-ups, and then we'll have ring rows, and then written off to the side is pull-ups. So it's always written the opposite way from the ground up, and that helps also with that learning your body. People will take that, and after we've done in the skill portion maybe a dozen times, they finally started to get handstand push-ups down. We'll say, okay, right, well in this one, in where it says push-ups, we're going to do handstand push-ups with 3 pads. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to crush you. You're going to fly through all of them. You're still going to smoke this workout, but you're still getting that stimulus of doing that under time. And now, instead of that skill where it's a very controlled, relaxed environment, now we're doing in the Metcon this high intensity, this I'm out of breath because everybody knows a handstand push-up is completely different from a tired handstand push-up. Just same with double unders. Oh my gosh, double unders and tired double unders. Yeah, two opposite ends of the spectrum, and and that's that learning your body, that kind of thing, and and that's what leads into being able to do things like that, like doing a separate cycle. So yeah, that's that's it.
So, as far as choosing a facility to implement all this great advice in, what do you think people should look for? And the coaching staff, and the actual facility itself, and the other members, what do you think?
Yeah. So I haven't been doing this for as long as some people. I've been training young athletes for going on about 5 years now, and been doing CrossFit for just a few. And with any coach, one thing that I've developed, and I played ball through high school and college, and have seen a lot of coaches, been involved with a lot of coaches, and maybe not as many as some, but in my experience, I've been able to put together 3 pieces of the perfect coach. Mm-hmm. The 3 things that make a perfect coach. And some may disagree, some may agree, but this is just how I see it. On one end, you have the knowledge portion. So that person who's studying every day, they're watching every CrossFit YouTube video that's being posted. You're reading every Joe DeFranco blog post. You're reading every article on EliteFTS.com. You're constantly in search of that knowledge. You're buying every book that's out there. You understand training. You are constantly building your craft, as John North says, at building the melting pot. So, and then on the other end, we have the people person.
Right.
Yeah, the people person, the person that just gets along with everybody, can walk in, just lights up a room. You can hold a conversation with, and you walk away from that conversation like, man, that's a great guy, or woman, whatever. And so
no sexism here. Come on.
And that people person that everybody likes, everybody wants to talk to, and you can give criticism to people without hurting their feelings, things like that. That's very, very important. And then in the middle of this spectrum, you have the person that knows how to take their knowledge and translate it to people the different ways that they may need it. So some people like to learn one way, some people have to learn another way, some people you have to physically show them, some people you have to grab them and put them in the positions you want, and then they're like, oh, okay, that's how it works. And so yeah, that's my model for the perfect coach is knowledge, people person, knowing how to translate that knowledge, and that's all three of those come together to me create the perfect coach.
What do you think about the actual facility? Like, if you're looking for powerlifting or bodybuilding, you probably shouldn't show up to a CrossFit gym.
You know, I think that's something that you can work with in a lot of cases. I mean, obviously, you want to seek out your ideal facility. I mean, if you're a bodybuilder, you want to be in a traditional style gym. I mean, if you're a powerlifter, I think powerlifters could get away with being in a CrossFit gym. You might get stared at a lot. You're gonna have a lot of people come and ask you questions.
Yes.
But you know what? I believe it would still be less than a traditional gym, just because of the lower volume of people.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think it's just understanding what your craft requires. You know, and especially if you're a CrossFitter. You know, CrossFit boxes are everywhere. Traditional gyms are everywhere. I think the powerlifters are really the ones that get left out. There's so few powerlifting gyms.
If you're Olympic lifting gyms, those things are pretty rare.
Oh man.
It's almost non-existent down here.
Yeah, oh yeah, it definitely is. But I mean, CrossFit gyms kind of blur that line, which a lot of people, I know a lot of those old school coaches hate that, but I mean, it is what it is, So.
Now, one of the biggest issues that I hear from my fellow students and people I interact with is, hey, I want to train, but I don't have the money to join a CrossFit gym. I'm in college, I'm broke. Everyone knows we're broke.
For sure.
So what do you think about that comment?
Yeah, you have to find a way. I mean that's life, man. Always find a way. Find what you need to do to get it done. So if you're, there's a lot of options you can do. You can say you get a summer job, great. You work your butt off, and then you go and pay for a gym for a few months, or you offer to mop the floors for your gym, or you simply just or you use your school's facility. I mean, a lot of times you can just do that. Like at UWF, we have a great place for that. To a little room where they got kettlebells and sleds and whatnot where you can do some CrossFit workouts and maybe you do that in the meantime while you're working, trying to get that money up for paying for a gym, because that's hard for a lot of students to see that $150 a month tag on something. That's tough. That's heavy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I went broke my first semester doing CrossFit. I worked all summer. I lifeguarded. I remember I made like $600-700, and that was big. That was the most money I'd ever made. And I blew it all in one semester on training. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I kind of have to leave. And they said, no, don't worry, we'll work something out.
Yeah.
So you also kind of have to show them, I put a lot into this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, that says a lot about you and your character, that how much training means to you over, what would have been much cheaper of just going out and partying and stuff. Yeah. That says a lot, and that you're willing to work for something. And like you said about talking with, you said you got to the point where you couldn't really afford it anymore, and you told them that, and they were like, well, let's work something out. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that most people won't even consider. Maybe they're afraid to talk to, people of power. Maybe, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, you can just go talk to somebody. Go to a small box gym. Go to a small CrossFit gym. Walk in there, talk to the owner, and say, hey, I really want to do CrossFit. Even if you've never even done it before. Hey, I've heard a lot about it. I really want to do it. I'm sold already, but I don't have any money. I need some help. I know I've helped people like that. People that say that, and it's like, okay, well, what are your skills? What can we work with? Help me help you. And then, there's almost always something to be done there. There's always, as the owner, you always have something you're trying to get off your plate, get somebody else to do.
Yeah.
That's very important. And just, don't find that way. Find that way. Find a way to do it.
Being perseverant is really good.
Yep, 100%.
It's a good trait. And I mean, I've seen guys go from that to eventually becoming coaches at their
yeah.
facility.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen that happen a lot.
absolutely.
So if it's really something you care about, you'll find the time, you'll find the place. The other issue, though, with the money is transportation. So do you think, because you were talking about a buddy earlier, it's worth it to go to a better gym or better coaches, further away, and it's going to get really expensive?
Yeah, that's a tough question for sure. I mean, we did talk about it. I have a friend of mine who he trained with me for a while, and his only CrossFit experiences have been with me here and at the gym I used to be at. He had never really had that walk into the box and get that true blue first CrossFit experience. So he moved about an hour away and started training there, and stops by here every now and then when he can. But he started training over there, walked into this gym he didn't really know anything about, and him and his new wife. And, he comes back and tells me, hey, I like, or I asked him, how's his new gym? He's like, yeah, I like it. It's, it's not bad. And he's like, I thought one thing was really weird. I was like, what's that? He's like, they don't care about form. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They don't care about form. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm talking to one of the coaches, and I'm like, why don't you like correct people when they're doing things wrong? He's like, oh, we don't want to intimidate people.
Oh,
and yeah, and that's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you can't be like that as a coach. You gotta be smart. I kind of get where he's coming from, but at the same time, there's nothing more intimidating than injury or knowing somebody else that got injured at your gym. I have a woman that trains here. She hurt her back really bad at a gym down the road.
Oh,
and
really?
now that gym will forever be. Now that she has that story,
Mm-hmm.
that gym will always kind of have that one little tale floating off about them. So, and maybe it was preventable, maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but you gotta be smart as a coach.
Yeah.
And looking for good coaches, I think it might be somewhat worth traveling a little bit to get a good coach.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I was lucky enough to my first semester here. I just kind of stumbled. Oh, this is the closest gym, and it was one of the best coaches so far in the city.
For sure.
Not taking away from your gym.
Oh, no, not taking.
Yeah, I think that's going to conclude our episode of a time and a place.
All right. It was fun. Enjoyed it.
Yep. So see y'all next week.